Okay, I stayed up late a couple nights ago thinking about this because I was very concerned. Um,
Wait, can I ask you
I
a question? Were you staying up and thinking about it, or did this keep you up at night?
This
like
kept him up.
this kept me up at night.
Okay, okay.
I was suddenly
He was
plagued
in the
with
study.
Okay, so the Nintendo 64 expansion pack is coming to Nintendo Switch Online
October
and in October, and they are releasing a N64 controller to go with it,
and a Genesis.
and it literally doesn't matter. Um, it doesn't. Um, it just doesn't.
No, keep
Anyway,
going.
I was thinking about it. Like, I have two concerns. This N64 controller, are you going to buy it?
No,
Just curious. No?
No.
Do you think it's going to work on other Nintendo games?
I think it'll work just well. Oh, that's interesting. Do you think it'll be like a pro controller?
Why the hell would you play?
But also, this is the worst controller of all time.
Like, do you think if I Bluetooth this, or well, let's keep it simple. If I played a different Switch game, would it recognize that I'm playing an N64 controller? Will they build that software into the Switch?
It may just be another Bluetooth controller.
Because
Wait, is it a Bluetooth controller? Is it not
It is
USB?
Bluetooth.
Oh,
Bluetooth.
shit.
James, you might not have heard. The Switch now has Bluetooth. Like, it was in there the whole time, and they just never told anybody.
It's a big
and they
deal
just
for us.
flipped a switch, and they were like, Bluetooth
Hey,
works.
Guess what, guys? We're giving you Bluetooth right
Attach your AirPods, and you're like, it's been out for 4 years. Anyway.
Look under your seat.
Like, yeah, look. No, but like, I'm really concerned that like I'll buy this N64 controller, and it's only going to work in this paid subscription model. And you telling me you're not going to buy it is a nice sign, because I'm like,
So
Here's the deal. Oh, James.
Oh yeah, just what I'm looking forward to is the market for N64 controllers right now is really dead because there's not a lot of controllers, and nobody's just making a brand new fresh one.
hey,
Except now there is. So I think these are going to be really hot demand for that old school market, especially if they can work a way where it can play on the old.
I bought this
Ted's a
for
Nintendo collector.
I bought this for
You keep
$900.
showing this every week.
Is this gonna work? Like, if I were to
You're holding $5.
if I were to unwrap this, which I won't because it's worth $2,000,
Yeah, right.
and play Super Mario 64, would the N64 controller work?
It'll work on your online subscription while you play Mario 64.
Right? So, like, I was thinking, like, is this just a dumb thing to keep me hooked on a monthly subscription service, or is this going to actually be integrated into the Switch in a really cool way?
That's interesting. I'd like to know that. Also, I'd like to know why they designed a controller with 3 prongs when we only have 2 hands. That's been my question since I was 6 years old and received an N64. It's a sucky controller.
Take a controller in both hands.
Uh-huh.
Now stick it in your lap.
Uh-huh.
3 hands.
It's a dick pad. Okay. Hello and welcome back to the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, episode 74. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined, as always, by James St. Charles and the third chair himself, the rotating guest, the third hand, the crotch pad himself, Ted Theodore Libby.
Hey.
James, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's been another week. We're back at it.
Back at it, same clothes, different hats. Yep. Well, thank you for your rant, Ted. Thank you for your rant.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm legitimately concerned because if they integrate the N64 controller as like software and they make it standard, like I could play any Switch game with it, I'm in. Are you kidding me? This YouTube channel is going to turn into Ted plays games on an N64 controller and suffers the consequences.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and buy one. That's what I'll say. I'm going to do my best to get one. I doubt I will get one, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, that's the other problem. But
I've definitely missed the mark on this OLED Switch, which is
I am also trying to get an OLED Switch, and that is not happening.
Yeah.
I don't think James will be able to buy it because you have to subscribe to the Nintendo Online to get an invite to buy the controller.
That's the pre-order.
That's
okay.
The
maybe
game, so the Switch is released. I could go and try and pick it up from Target, but they don't have it in stock.
The OLED,
they
yes.
do. The OLED Switch. I was like, they have plenty of Switches. I checked.
Well, I mean, now the market is full of the old Switches, which who wants a used Switch with Joy-Con drift and all this stuff? And this new one probably will have Joy-Con drift, so who cares? But you get
it doesn't have Joy-Con drift?
The N64 controller?
The Sideescape Game Podcast.
Because this is the Sideescape Gaming Podcast, episode 74, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on youtube.com. Once a week, we Discord over 500 miles to talk about what games we are playing and a video game-related topic. This week, James and I have played, beaten, and now we are ready to review Kenna, the Bridge of Spirits, or Bridge of Spirits. I don't think there's a I apologize. But before we start, we just talked a lot about the N64 on the Switch, which still comes out in October, and it's still October, and they've told us no more information.
Yeah.
Nor have they told us how much it's going to cost. That's my favorite part so far.
That's the other part of what kept me up at night.
Yeah. I bet it's not as much as we all think it's going to be, but it's weird. But I wanted to propose something to you. I had a thought last night. I was a little intoxicated and I had a thought. Okay? And I want to put this out to your minds. See what you think. I'm starting to believe that one thing about Halo Infinite. Reading a bunch of stuff online about how people are really worried because we haven't seen a lot of the single player campaign yet. And we're now in October. We've seen like one cutscene and we've seen old footage from the old version of the game before it was delayed for a year. I'm starting to believe that maybe Halo Infinite is the final Halo game for a while. And this is their platform. What if
they're going to Warzone it?
Well, maybe not, but maybe, yeah, like I guess another equivalent would be maybe like a Fortnite or a...
Fortnite.
Like a platform where you come to play Halo multiplayer and there are chapters of the story released. Or like
would be
different story segments of like, not like saying that like the first game's not going to be complete story, but like what if they release another story content in 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And this is, yeah, because that's they're selling that individually.
I believe it. If they were to release a Halo Infinite and then a Halo 6, it would both be the price of Game Pass for me. So it makes a lot of sense that they just they make it episodic.
Yeah,
I would love an episodic type campaign. I'm a big
Um,
fan of those. Like the remember the Telltale series where you get
Remember Telltale?
remember that little
They
company that
delisted their games
killed
on
itself?
Steam because they're
they burn themselves to the ground. Yeah.
The episodic format is great.
Yes.
It just hasn't been done in so long, or like in a good.
It's great if it's consistent.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you keep making them.
Yeah. I just remember Halo 3 was called Finish the Fight, and then they haven't finished the fight yet. So I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't have high expectations for the Halo single player at this time. But that's totally
saved
okay.
The universe from devastation.
But now there's new enemies, Ted. There's new enemies. And the brutes are back, so there's also old enemies.
Yeah.
I was like, no, there's old enemies.
And the Flood's back, so I guess
back.
there's old enemies too. But there's also new enemies. And Cortana's bad. Maybe.
Okay.
Who knows?
Anyways, that was my thought last night, just because I was kind of, I don't know, sitting on it and being like, I don't know, it is interesting we haven't heard anything about the campaign. Obviously, it's not the focus of the game, but...
in the same way that the movie Logan really resonated with me months after I watched it,
yeah,
they should end this. They should finish the
Chief.
Master Chief saga. I get it. He's a mascot. He sells consoles. Just do it.
Yeah.
If there's one thing we are lacking in today's society, it's an end to these stories. Just do it. Just pull that trigger.
I saw a great thing about like sequel culture, like of like games of like every game is a sequel, and people being like, everyone expecting Uncharted 5 when they literally named the fourth one A Thief's End. Like they literally named Nate's story. Like people are like waiting for another Nate game. They named it his end. Like he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be back. Don't worry.
Maybe. I don't think he will.
I'll take Gears just did the Hive Busters, and that had like a unique story without really any of the main or sort of the main characters. Something like that.
I agree.
Within the Halo universe, like some unique crew that we can get some nice like short story and hear something similar to like ODST or like that style. But
I was like,
I like that. And they haven't. I mean, they have, but they haven't like done something like that too like that well rounded. Like
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I think there's something to that. I don't know. I just think
Infinite platform to make unique story.
Yeah, I think Infinite is definitely setting itself up to be a platform, not a singular game. That's my new theory. I'm sticking to it. Okay.
Speaking of singular games,
let's talk about a review, boys. We're talking about Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. It's a PS4, PS5 game, and on the Epic Game Store, correct? It's not on Steam. It is
what a set of exclusives that I never thought would happen.
I know, right?
How much was it for you?
It was $40.
Yep. Okay. So
it is developed by Ember Lab. It's their first game ever. They are known for CGI shorts. Primarily, they did a great short based off Zelda Majora's Mask, and it's an origin to Skull Kid and like how he got the mask. Really good. I'll put it in the link of or the bio of this video because it is really good. And they are a CG house. Like then they have made a game. LinkedIn has them at 19 employees. I'm sure there's probably a little more that aren't on LinkedIn, but it is a very small team. So that's the overview of what Ember Labs is. This is their first game. Sony marketed it big time, backed it as one of their big PS5 exclusives for the launch year, but now it's obviously here because of COVID. James, broad strokes, what is Kenna Bridge of Spirits?
Kenna Bridge of Spirits is a Zelda-like sort of progressive adventure game, I would say, where you have to do these certain things or solve these certain puzzles to progress and use what you've done from those like fights or either story through the environment and use them to like progress through the level. So how it starts out, I guess I don't want to like spoil it too much, but you're this. How would you describe yourself? Like what, like a shaman kind of thing?
I think she's called a spirit guide.
Spirit guide, yeah, basically. Yeah. You're a spirit guide, and you can see spirits.
Okay.
And
I was one of those in college once.
yes, basically. And you basically get to this village, and it's corrupted. That's like the best way to say it.
It is, yeah.
It's corrupted, and your kind of job is to clean it. And one aspect of it, I think we're gonna be talking a lot about it, is this thing which is called a rot.
Yep.
And it's like Pikmin. Have you played Pikmin?
It's like
Pikmin. Yeah, it's Pikmin. It's basically Pikmin.
Why are they called the rot? Why isn't
I don't know. That was never explained.
Okay, they are the cutest little things
rots
in the world, and they're called rot. And yet there is gross, giant vine things that is the bad stuff, and that's not called rot.
Yeah, the like you have corrupt vine stuff that's like taking over the village. Yeah, and so basically you collect these rots, upgrade what you can do based on the amount of rots you can have.
Yep.
And you fight evil, corrupt, like enemies.
Yeah, and it is.
That's it.
It's like a 3D platformer. It feels a lot like a 3D platformer.
3D platformer, some puzzles, Zelda-like enemies, Dark Souls-esque type combat. I would say not quite the full.
Inspired by though.
Inspired, yeah.
Yeah.
It is quite. I'd say the abilities they've given you and like how they work. Really well polished, like that like how you're supposed to use them and how to defeat enemies or even bosses.
Yes,
that was impeccable.
The surprise of Kenna for me is that the combat is the best part of the game.
Yes, and you don't
really. Okay,
I was not expecting that at all because I was like, okay, it's just some cute, great looking game, like good CGI.
Oh, yeah, it's freaking beautiful.
And the combat is another level. It's like, so you go in swinging.
I mean, are you talking skillful? Like, are you feeling like you are learning to dominate, or is it just fun to play?
No, you get your ass fucking kicked in this game, Ted.
Yeah, right away you get it like kicked, and you're like, oh, I gotta try all this stuff, and then it like gets a little easy, and then it has learning curves to it, and you get abilities to help you out and move you along.
James, let's go really, really top level. What do you think overall, just of Kenna, without diving into the specifics?
Overall, I think it's a great game, but there's just, I don't know if you had this feeling, there's just something missing from it. I don't know what it is, but there's something missing. It's like at times it's like, okay, this section was great, and then I go back and it's like, oh wow, this is really barren and there's not much to do here. I just have to go to this next area. So the linearity of it threw me. I hated that. I did not like how I had to go like here to get to here to get to here until there's like one point where you can like do whatever you want. Like
there's finally an open portion.
Yeah, there's an options to like do a certain order, but it was really telling how the linearity was in this, and I that threw me because I was like expecting like I was thinking Zelda, but it wasn't. That's like, it was not Zelda because I could not do what I wanted. I had to go in certain orders.
It was like a Zelda from like GameCube era.
It was like it was a Zelda that was very much like old school, like not like the new Breath of the Wild or
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, is it lacking something the way you play older games and they feel a little bit lacking?
Yes.
Or is it lacking in the way that like when you play the sequel to this, you'll be like, oh, it all comes together now. Was this just
I think it feels lacking in the sense that it's so beautiful and there's so many like kind of cool things they're doing, but there's not enough.
yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
a very small area where you're doing these things, and then you get to this, you open this door and fight this boss, and that's it. And that's the same formula it does
Every time.
the whole game. The
Yeah.
whole game, the same formula.
I would say that it is such a good introduction game for this studio to show what they can
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
But it also
It
is
good intro.
the production level, because the CG is so good,
Yeah.
is so high. Like from when you start the game up, that it slowly just, in my opinion, starts to disappoint you because it's not. It sounds so weird, but like it's not how it looks. Like it's like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're thrown off because it's like, okay, the CG is so great. These cutscenes are the best
Yeah.
I've ever seen, but
and then you're running
there's
around
nothing
like,
really backing it. It's like, okay, this is just a normal
Yeah.
fight and a normal enemy.
Right.
Yeah, my feelings about it are like I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's good. I think it's like a,
I think it's good. I don't think, but the
middle
problem
of
is,
the
I don't
pack.
think it will pick up enough steam, at least for the PC player base. Not just because it's on Epic Game Store, but just this isn't, I think, what their target is. I want to see how well the sales are. Like, do you
It's
have that
sold
information?
pretty well on PlayStation so far.
Good, because I feel like it could still do well on the console market, but it hasn't. Maybe if it releases on Steam, releases again,
Mm-hmm.
it is. I think it's a game that people should play. Like, it really hit me.
Yeah.
With the first story. What about you? What about you, Jake? Like that very first kind of like intro story.
Yeah. So the game,
That was really good.
the game, Ted, is kind of tied in these sections of you as Kenna are going through and trying to like free a spirit from the corruption, and you're like accompanied by spirit or spirits that this person was close to. That's kind of like the narrator of their story, and you're learning about that person as you go and try to free them.
Yeah.
And I thought multiple of those stories were very good. Like,
Yes.
I wouldn't say all of them. I honestly think the final boss and his motive is like just so weak.
The
and-
fight. Yeah, the final one. It was just.
yeah.
He's
just not a good
exact
character.
same way. It was
Yeah.
not. It was like what?
Well,
Why would?
yeah. But I think that the first two stories, like bits of these characters that you're trying to free, are very good. They both have
Yeah.
really a good side character and everything.
Yeah, I really felt for the first couple of them.
Mhm.
It was, wow. Yeah, but then I don't know. Like, it definitely. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be more like that. I was like, oh, like these stories are great. If they could
Yeah.
keep doing this, and then
There's only 3 of
No.
them. Yeah.
yeah, the third.
Um,
Yeah.
But the game basically you're going around and you're trying to free these spirits, but you're doing a lot of like PlayStation 2. It's such a weird way to say that, but like kind of older console platforming, like mascot platformers.
Shoot this, jump here, jump here.
I have very specific
climb.
reference. Do you remember a game called Vex? Does anyone know what Vex is?
Vex.
No.
No, okay.
Not Gex.
No,
I
not
know
Vex.
Gex.
Not-
No,
not Gex,
Vex.
not
Vex.
Gex.
He was like a little beast boy with like claw hands. Search Vex on your computer, Ted. I'll try to remember to put an image up here. Anyways, Vex. It was like an old 2D. It was an old 3D platformer, and he was like action platforming. And did you get it? Did you get
No.
Vex? VEXX.
Oh my gosh, this is not a real game.
Yes, it is. I played it as a kid.
What you, I
What's
Yeah.
this
okay.
It was on
and continue.
GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. I think I played
Yeah,
on
it looks
Xbox.
like it. It sure does.
Yeah. Anyway, so I played Vex, and this reminded me a lot of Vex. Basically because it is like kind of pretty easy, simple platforming
Very easy.
that pisses you off because you don't grab the ledge for some reason.
Yeah.
And I had multiple moments in this game where I was like, why won't you just grab the ledge? Like I'm jumping to the ledge, and you've grabbed every other ledge, but you're deciding to just not grab this ledge. And stuff like that really started to build up as I would go through like a 2-hour play chunk, and like 8 or 9 times I'm dying for like shit reasons.
Yeah. So yeah, that I was talking about that. The frustration of
Mm-hmm.
this game sometimes when you're dying to, like, the environment or the mechanics of
Yeah.
it, that pissed me off too. Like, it was frustrating at times. Like I had like, all right, I'm putting it down. Like I can't play. It's just.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if did you have any performance issues? Like, did you notice like I had all my raw like displayed. I don't know how
Oh.
like it was for you, but it like I was just like, yeah, let's just see how it works. And I did it one time, and it destroyed me when I went back to town, and like it was loading all the rots.
Oh no, I never had that problem. No.
it did have like slight performance issues, at least for PC. I don't know. That's what I was wondering.
Oh yeah, no, PS5 had
But
great issues.
fighting wise, I was fine. But
Yeah, and just one other fun thing about the rot, and before we dive into combat, because that is by far the strongest point of this game, the rot had these little, I mean, they're like dark gray, black like with green specks on them, kind of like little Pikmin looking dudes. You unlock many of them, and you find them throughout the world, or you get them from beating a boss, but you buy them hats, and they can
I bought all the hats.
They can wear hats.
They're
the
wearing
whole time.
I got like the unicorn hat on one of them. It's just so great seeing the little trail like on that one.
Yeah, it's just, and they like wear them the whole time, and it's great. It's just really fun. And all the cutscenes they're wearing hats.
And you're telling me this game is not available on Steam?
It's available on Epic, yeah.
This is not a Valve game. You can put little hats.
You can put hats. You spend money on the hats. You get currency to buy the hats.
Oh, you get so much useless currency in this game. You have infinite.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. The currency is the dumbest thing ever. You can't buy anything. You buy hats.
Yeah.
There's no useful stuff.
I think just on that line of what didn't appeal to me about Kenna opposed to other modern kind of platformers like this or games like this, you don't get a lot of stuff. There isn't.
There's no reward.
There's no reward.
The rot is the reward.
The rot or a hat is the only rewards.
Rot or
the money.
Yeah, you open a chest. You went through this really difficult platforming to jump on this building to get to the 5th story.
Have a hat.
Here's your hat.
Yep. So that is irritating. And
that sounds great to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I played a lot of TF2 back in the day. I'm in.
We're selling.
Just give me a hat. I'm in.
Yeah.
You're in. But I also think that it doesn't just start with the rewards, but also your abilities. I don't think that there are enough interesting abilities towards the end. There are some key abilities that other games have done, like slow down time when you aim a bow and stuff like that. Cool. That's every game's done that. So it was kind of disappointing of like, oh, you haven't built much into this like combat, but what it is there is great. So
it works. Yeah.
What did you think of the combat in Kenna?
So I think at first I did not like it, and then once I got through the bosses and figured out like what I liked, so I played keyboard mouse. I didn't play controller.
Oh, interesting.
And what I liked was the bow the best because I can really aim and dial in with the with the slowdown time and all that, and really hit like perfect shots. So that was great because I know there's one boss where you literally have to use the bow, and that was a fucking pain. But great on keyboard mouse where I could like aim and click it like perfectly and get. So that was great. But then also there's times where you had to use certain abilities to progress through a fight, and I'm actually not a big fan of that. Even though it's like, okay, cool, yeah, you're using your new bomb to like get through. Okay, yeah, it has bombs, cool.
But the bomb enemy, the arrow enemy,
arrow, bomb. Wow, that sounds familiar. Anyways, a sword. No, we don't. But that was pretty like I wasn't too big a fan of that. But I liked the movement. You can move really well, like dodging, and that's what I had to like get in. I had to get in that Dark Souls thinking, like roll dodge a lot.
Yeah, and it's got a great dodge,
position,
a great block, a great parry.
Yeah, position parry, like all these things, and like it. God, what's it remind me of? I just had it in my mind, but it reminded me of. There's like this. I can't remember the game, but there's like certain ways to fight enemies in this game, and it's like because like I know this enemy, this weak spot's right here and right here. This is how I'm gonna fight it. So I liked that aspect of it, where the weak spots in certain enemies, so you can.
Yeah, I liked that there wasn't too much variation in the enemies.
Doom. And that Doom aspect, where you which enemies are weak to certain weapons or certain
who you have
abilities.
a chainsaw and
exactly. That's
God, Doom Eternal, what a fucking good game.
What a great game. Let's play Doom Eternal.
Let's go back.
All right, Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal, what a great game. No, but I think the combat is by far the strongest point of this game. Ted, just for some context, you have a staff. That's your little magical staff, and you have a light attack and a heavy attack with it. You can charge the heavy attack like normal stuff, but then eventually you start unlocking abilities that you can like infuse your rot within your attacks. So one major attack that I was doing was like
a baiter.
You hold down like the heavy and then push like a button as you swing it for like rot to come in and like deal more damage. Yeah. You have a bow and then you have a bomb, and you can throw the bomb on people and shoot it and explode and like stuff like that. So the combat becomes pretty intricate of like how the best way to take these mobs down, but then the bigger bosses, and the bigger bosses are very difficult.
They're difficult, yeah.
They are
really
the last couple are
Oh, I dropped the difficulty on the
Insane.
last fight. I couldn't do it.
It's almost impossible, like especially for the last one.
And it had-
Because the stages, it's a stage fight, and I
it's
hate
a stage fight.
fights.
And then and it did the thing that games don't do anymore, and this is where you know that it's like they're not an experienced game developer team.
Yeah.
You restart at the very beginning of this like
And-
so you'll go like 20 minutes in this boss fight back to the beginning because you got like
it takes probably legit like 20 to 30 minutes to get to like towards the end of it. So if you die at the end, you have to redo 20, 30 minutes, even if they're not difficult, because it's stages. It reminds me of, but Death's Door.
Yeah.
That we just played, where it had the stages. But guess what? In that one, you could respawn halfway through, so you don't have to waste like 30 minutes and go to the beginning.
Yeah, so it definitely has like some sensibilities that aren't fine tuned to where we are now in games.
Yeah.
So I think that will come. I don't ever want to see a sequel to this game. I want to see what other idea they can come up with.
I want to see a different with the same CG sort of effect, because this is huge.
I know.
Or like a partnership.
A lot of this that you're telling me sounds like that first game
step.
where this is not franchise worthy. This is not going to turn into a bunch of sequels.
It's a great
but
first game.
Yeah, this will turn into something else later down the line, and that's really encouraging to hear.
Yeah,
I hope they take like feedback very constructively and figure out, it's like, okay, we have this, and I think they have the animation, the world, the music is great, and just the art, everything that's all down, and you have a good fighting like starting point.
Yeah, the combat's awesome.
Yeah, just refine like how you do the enemies in level, and that's it.
Yeah,
so it's pretty great, pretty strong start.
It is a really strong start. Yeah, I know I'm being a little more negative on it, but it's a game that I was.
Yeah, we're being hard on it.
Well, it was a game that throughout playing it, I was constantly really enjoying it, and then there was chunks of 30 minutes where I wasn't, and I wasn't having a good time, but I was like, I gotta get through to the end. Like I know I'm close.
Yeah,
I might as well
at some point, I was just pushing towards the end. That's not a good feeling you want in games. It's like you want like, oh, I don't want it to end.
Yeah.
I wanted nothing more than for it to end.
Yeah, and I was treating it like a really big collectathon of like really trying to find every kind of nook and cranny. And about like halfway through, I was like, nah, I don't give a shit. Fuck it. Let's just run through this. Like I'm gonna story path this now. So
yeah, because there was no incentive for you to collect everything. Like you want a hat? You like hats? That's it's great for you.
Yeah.
But there's no like, oh, you're gonna get like a better upgrade, or you're gonna get this golden staff.
Yeah, there's no weapon variation or improvements or
even changing how you look. Come on.
Yeah, no cosmetics. Didn't even think about that. Come on, Kenna. But definitely a very strong start by Ember Lab. So if you want kind of an interesting, beautiful looking experience for $40, I mean it is worth the $40 price tag. If it was $60, it's not. But I think $40 it's there.
Okay. 40 is
perfect.
solid.
This and I don't mean this to discredit the game at all. This seems like a great Christmas sale, like $14 purchase.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. When it goes on sale, it'd be a good one to pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think it's going to change your view on how you play video games or anything.
Right.
It has a weird sensibility if it feels like a kid's game that then has the hardest fucking boss fights in a kid's game I've ever seen. So
yes, true. Yeah, it has this kid's game aspect to it, and then like the fight like just throws you off. You're like,
you like have these little cute rot that are running around, and then you get like mauled by this.
A kid will not be able to play this.
No way.
It looks like
dragon beasts that are attacking you. Not a chance. No. Ted, any questions about Kenna before we wrap up?
No, I think you guys explained it really well. And you describing it in that way where it kind of has that like strange lacking disparity sounds like a first attempt. And I don't mean that as a bad thing at all. I totally understand what you mean of like, this is really cool. They have something here, but we need to fill out those edges. I mean, you guys have both beaten it? Yeah. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did the story resonate with you from beginning to end, or was it a really good start and then it kind of petered out?
Sections resonated, but the
Yeah,
overall, at the end, it lost me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
They kind of like expect you to give a crap about the final guy.
Yeah. I couldn't care less.
And I was like, you're just a bad dude. Like I don't.
His reasoning also sucked because it was just jeopardizing the whole. So
so it was weird. You were like trying to save this guy's soul, and at the end I was like, oh, this guy kind of sucks. Like
it's like
fuck
why?
This guy.
He was the one who fucked.
Yeah, kind of walk away from this village. Go somewhere else.
It was the stories leading up to it, where it's just like, wow, these people got screwed just because of him.
The journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know how you feel, but the first story like was just really sad.
Yeah, the
Like,
first
I don't
story
want
was
to split, but
fantastic. I thought the second
yeah.
one was really beautiful as well.
Second
Like,
was great too. A
yeah.
good, yeah.
Really cool. But yeah, it is a game caught in the middle of a few genres and a few. It doesn't know, I think, what it wants to be. I think
Right.
that's a little tough.
Yeah, I
but-
mean, I have not touched this game at all. I've
Yeah.
only ever seen a trailer and some gameplay.
yeah. I would
and
look at some of
I-
the cutscenes though, because they are stellar.
Yeah, I
It is
would
like
have
watching
told
a
you.
movie.
Yeah, I would have told you this seems like a really cool mix between a movie and a kids game, and for you to suddenly say like I had to drop the difficulty, like
Yeah.
Jake has
Movie,
never said
movie,
that before.
No,
the ending is Dark Souls level
Dude.
and
Yeah.
unfair.
Yeah.
The final boss fight, I got like so mad at it. I was like, I'm done. I just want to.
Yeah.
I spent days on it. Yeah.
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 It was.
I think I
I was
texted
trying to
James
tempt today.
on the first boss. The first boss whooped the shit out of me. I texted
the
James and I was like, "How far are you? And am I like alone in thinking this guy is insanely hard?" And he goes, "Oh
Right.
no, but you got to do like a thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And like then I started doing that thing. I was like, "Okay, I could beat it now." But I would never have tried
Once you
that.
do the things like that
Yeah,
you could do, then they become a little bit easier.
yeah. So
I will say, and again, not hating on the
boss.
game. If I have a video game pet peeve, it is that. It is a
Yeah.
really easy build up to a really difficult boss. I hate
Yeah,
that
because
so much.
the difficulty just ramps up at the last 3 bosses, basically. It's
Right.
just like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's worth the shot of just seeing what the studio can do, and the visuals alone, I think, are impressive. So I'm
Yeah,
excited
the
to see
visuals are beautiful.
what they do next.
Mhm.
Okay, before we go, I want to know what you've been playing. If you have anything noteworthy, Ted, you haven't done a lot of talking.
Yeah, and I have to continue not doing a lot of talking because we're going to talk about it next week. I've started playing Metroid Dread.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's really
Sorry.
great. It's really great. That's all I'm gonna say.
Really great. I mean, that's really great for like it finally being released, or it's like it is actually worth the wait.
I think it's worth the wait. I'm very into it.
I'm gonna like someone needs to shake the reins and hold me back on this one.
Don't review the game. We're not there yet, but just give me what you gotta say.
I'm not that far into it.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm just trying to get an hour count, and it's all
It
kind of a
says
blur.
if you quit out of your game on the save file, it'll tell you your hour count.
I don't quit. I think I'm about 4 hours in, so I'm maybe approaching halfway. We'll see. I went into this not expecting it to be very good, if I'll be honest with you guys, and turns out I fucking love Metroid games.
Yeah.
And I went in
Metroidvania.
playing as like I'll play an hour, and then I'll play an hour again, and then we'll talk about it a little bit, and then my entire day off just went away. And my roommates had to come out and watch because I was yelling at the TV too much. It's really good.
Yeah. It's really good.
It's really good in the same way I felt the old games were really good. Jake, I don't know if you've played the older games.
I've played. We texted a little bit about this. I've played a bit of Super Metroid, and I've played Fusion.
Yep.
But I don't think I ever beat Fusion. This will be my first Metroid game I've ever beaten. But I've
Yep.
played. I mean, now I've played dozens of Metroidvanias, so it's not
Right,
like a new
right.
genre
And for Metroid specifically, I think I've played about 2 hours of every Metroid game, with the exception of Metroid Fusion, which I've beaten about
That's-
18 times.
yeah.
I can beat that game in 2 hours and 58 minutes at this point. I did it over the pandemic.
Wow.
My roommates were wondering why I was stayed up till 4:30 a.m. and I was like, I don't know, just wanted to beat Metroid today. Anyway, this game's really good, and it's really good in that same way that the older games are really good. We will talk more about this next week.
Mhm.
I'm super excited to discuss it. It's a
Yeah.
really fun game.
Me too. I'm very excited to talk to Ted about it and
Excited to hear
talk
about
with James about it. It's great. James, are you playing anything of note?
I've installed Back for Blood, but I had a hell of a time trying to install it. For some reason, the Game Pass was just being a pain when like Back for Blood released, and it had like these weird errors. Like you try to launch it, and it was like, oh, you can't log in, and then you couldn't do anything.
Huh.
I was like, what? Like to log into, and I guess they resolved them either today or I did
Yeah.
something different today, and I was able to log in and play.
Oh, good.
But
What did you think of it?
but,
Just
Uh,
initially.
it so far reminds me of the beta. Of
yeah.
course, it has more, and I'm kind of glad I played the beta just to like get a feel. So it's tough. I feel like it's tougher than Left 4 Dead.
Hmm.
Honestly, it has
Yeah,
a strange kind of like feeling to it where I felt I was way easier, especially in the beginning of Left 4 Dead, where you could like just spam your hit and run
Yeah.
away. Where the special zombies just they can destroy your whole team. There's like one of them.
So I have a
Hmm.
question for you that I was thinking about after we discussed the beta that you played.
Yeah,
Do you know if they are paying attention to the Left 4 Dead community at all? Because I played Left 4 Dead
maybe.
like every other teenager of that era, loved it, but didn't really pay much attention to it. And I found out years after the fact that there is a community of like hardcore
Hmm.
Left 4 Dead players who are like, there are
Still playing.
mods for Left 4 Dead 2 to make it tougher.
I
Like
don't I don't know if
there
this
is
is
some
getting mod
serious
support.
grind to it.
So I
But
feel like
are
it's a
they
mod beta.
like are they upping that ante because there are some Left 4 Dead players who are into the seriousness of like we're gonna play as a team and destroy our way through this map.
Could be, but
Is that why
it
it's
is
tougher?
really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it is. You have to strategize like crazy
Yeah.
to get through, and I was not expecting that. Like, of course, you're playing on lower difficulties, but if you want to play on even like slightly above normal,
Yeah.
it gets tough immediately,
Yeah.
Huh.
and you really need to get the cards and get a
Right.
good build
Yeah.
and get some good weapons. So it's incentivizing you to keep playing more. However, I feel that this may backfire on them, and they're gonna just have people play one and done, and that's it.
Hmm.
People are not gonna feel the need to keep replaying this like they would Left 4 Dead. And the
Mhm.
reason why is because the versus mode was very good for Left 4 Dead, and they did not make the changes that people asked for. So
Hmm. I
that's
heard
on
the
them.
Yeah.
versus mode was not.
Uh,
You do
and-
not want to
and-
just people do not want to just keep playing co-op. They want to like do a good versus.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm gonna break podcast rules here and Google search something real quick.
You Googled Vex earlier in the show, and it was wonderful.
Yeah,
That's true. I saw a screenshot. That looks scary.
Dude, Vex was
Um,
great. He was a little wolf boy.
James, are you at all thinking about Back 4 Blood in terms of all of the other co-op 4-player shooters that are coming out on Game Pass? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are you is your decisions at all about this game being affected by like, well, there's another one coming out in 2 months, so I'll be ready to play that one?
no, it's more of like people will play this and move on. It's not something that I'll
Really?
just keep playing. Yeah, that's what I feel. Because you're gonna beat the campaign, you're gonna know what it's all about, and maybe you'll beat it at a higher difficulty, or it'll be just too difficult, and you'll be like, this is just not worth my time
Okay.
to
Yeah.
waste.
Well,
Farm
yeah.
these cards, farm these weapons.
Right.
It's a grinding. It's like
Yeah.
that's not what Left 4 Dead was about.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I asked that because Warhammer 40K Darktide,
Oh god,
the spiritual successor to Vermintide, is coming out on Game Pass as well.
is it gonna be like Vermintide? Because Vermintide was also really
Yeah, and well, so I just looked it up, and the release date says 2021, and then right below it says early 2022. So who knows? But I was just thinking, like, like for me, if I have to pick between the two, I'll probably pick Darktide because I'm a Warhammer nut.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, it's a very competitive market. I'm wondering which one will really steal my attention.
Is Darktide on Game Pass?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
there are
that's
like
what-
I think there are 3 that I can think of 4-player co-op shooters coming out
Yikes.
this holiday season ish.
There's just so many, and then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, there's games that go back to all time, which is Killing Floor. Like
Hmm.
I've been playing, I played Killing Floor 2, and I like that. And
Really?
Killing Floor 1 is our our go-to.
Dude, that's our Christmas game.
Yeah, that's our Christmas game. We play that for Christmas. But I'm not playing Back 4
Seen it.
Blood. I think for
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame. I'm excited to hear. We're going to definitely talk about it in like 2 weeks, but when we all
Yeah,
played
once
it,
I
but-
play more, I'll let you know. Maybe like, I just need to like play more and get like great
Yeah,
stuff. and be
I'm
happy with it.
gonna download that as well. I'm gonna try and get the roomies in
Yeah.
on it.
I would love to play with
yeah.
people as well.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
I don't
how
think
does can I play with you
so
guys?
that's what I was going to ask. Like, how does it work?
We could try.
Crossplay is going to work. Crossplay works very well.
Yeah,
Okay, because I'm playing
yeah.
on Game Pass, then we should try and all
Yeah.
play.
And from what I understand, Game Pass is crossplay, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong about that, but
No,
I
you're right.
believe that is generally speaking the case.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Whenever you get back,
We'll talk about it.
we'll get back on it.
Yeah, we'll figure it because I want to see. Can I? So, question with the leveling: if you're a higher level, can I still play with you, or will it not
Well, I
be fun for me, or can you just
I mean, I
make
could
it
just-
character?
I can make a new character. Yeah,
Okay.
at that point, we just to make it fair.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That was the 74th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. That's James. That's Ted. I'm Jake, and we will see you next week for our Metroid Dread review. Very excited.
Excited.
Me too. I'm
Also, ask some more questions,
Yeah, please email us at thesideescape@gmail.com.
even non-gaming related. They
Yeah,
can be Ted
please.
related.
It could be only about Ted.
Yep.
All right, thank you
True.
very much, guys, for watching. We will see you next week.